Hi everyone, I'm Julia Fedorova. I'm the owner of Julia Fedorova Cakes and Sweet Art Master. I'm very proud to introduce you my new project, Sweet Art Master Kitchen Talk. In this series, I will be interviewing famous cake decorators, bakers, entrepreneurs, and educators who are happy to share their experience with us. I think this project is amazing opportunity to learn and hopefully to grow our businesses. I'm very happy to introduce you my first guest. She is talented cake artist, certified sugar artist, certified teacher, certified judge, Food Network cake star, and one of the sweetest people I ever met. Please welcome Vanessa Greeley.
Am I on?
Yes.
Hi, everyone. Thank you
Hello.
so much for having me. So, this is the first time I actually go live on YouTube. So, everybody bear with me. My name is Vanessa Greeley. I am a pastry chef, owner of Vanessa's Cake Designs. I live in beautiful Warwick, New York, and I am a sugar artist, but I also work with chocolate, cake, you name it, any medium. I'm a jack of all trades. I love to do everything. So today I thought it would be fun to do something for Valentine's, right? Because Valentine's, who doesn't like chocolate on Valentine's? And I'm going to show you how to make a very simple, oops, am I there? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So we're going to learn how to make a very simple centerpiece using tools that you probably already have. And if you don't, they're very easy to get and they're cost efficient. They're not expensive at all. Okay, so we're going to be doing the base, a very rustic base that looks like a tree, like a piece of tree, right? And then we're going to learn how to make some very simple and organic flowers and how to make this intricate shape using nothing but cardboard. Yes. Some of you may have seen some of other demos that I've done in the past. And if you haven't, then this is a great opportunity to catch up. And if you have any questions, please don't forget to let us know. Okay. So, do we wait a few minutes or do we just go right ahead?
Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So, I'm going to bring you down and we're going to talk about, first of all, we're going to talk about chocolate. Okay. So the chocolate that I'm using right now is actually dark chocolate and it is Calibat. I like to work anytime I do like showpieces, especially if they're like large showpieces. I like to use a dark chocolate because the dark chocolate has more. This particular one has more cocoa butter, and therefore, the better for the structure of the chocolate, and it has less content of sugar. Okay, so usually when you see all those show pieces on TV, or if you see those international competitions, you normally see most chefs working with dark chocolate for the high in content of cocoa butter. Okay, because we're going to be tempering chocolate, and the key to tempering chocolate is the cocoa butter. So it has to be real chocolate. Okay, let's get right to it. First, okay, let me just show you the chocolate that I'm using. Let's see. I'm gonna bring you up. This is my baby. This is Calibat. This particular chocolate is 70%, 70.5%, which means the rest is sugar, and most of it is cocoa butter. Okay. Now, typically, when you buy these bags, you want to look in the back and you want to see all this very useful information that tells you all the temperatures that you need to work with in order to temper chocolate. But today, I'm not going to take you through the whole ordeal of tempering chocolate. Not this method, anyway. I'm just going to show you how to very easily temper chocolate using the microwave. Okay? Now, for the microwave, I mean, I think I have about, I don't know, maybe a couple of cups of chocolate here. Now, what you have to be careful is that the microwave that you have on at home, let me bring you up a little bit. Okay. The microwave that you have at home, usually it's about 1,000 watts. So if you open up your microwave, this particular one says 700 watts. Okay, yours at home might actually say 1,000. Why is that important? Because if I put 30 seconds on at 700 watts, it may actually be a lot less time for you at home because it's stronger, right? It's 1,000 watts. Okay, so I'm gonna start with 30 seconds at a time. Okay, in the meantime, I wish we can hear everybody. Where is everybody from? Do we get to
Leave
hear
in
anybody?
comments.
Oh, how do I see the comments?
Let's find out.
I'm gonna grab a spatula. Do we have any comments so far?
Not yet.
My husband is popping in because it's Valentine's. I figure why not let him pop in?
Hi, everyone.
Is this
Hi,
Michael?
Hello.
how are you?
This is my lovely husband, Michael. And
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I figure, let him make a cameo. He's the support behind the scenes. He's a huge fan, and he's always been very very supportive. And I think that's actually the key also to a good relationship. Since we're on Valentine's, I'm just very fortunate to have a very supportive husband, and I try to support him back with the things that he likes as well. He knows that I love pastries and doing all these crazy competitions and things like that, and he loves running. So that's where we try to come together.
Very true.
Yes, I know you're working.
So, Michael,
Thank
do
you.
you have special recipe for Valentine's Day
Oh,
to share with us?
No, it's talking to you.
no, it's talking to you.
Special recipe.
No, the recipe for like what? Recipe or recipe for love?
Yes, of course. What is your
Uh,
secret?
What's your secret?
good communication and a sense of humor.
This is
Thank you.
true. I mean, we're like so opposites. I can be very talkative. Michael is actually he's very shy, but I love his sense of humor, and he's always extremely patient. Oh my goodness, he's so patient. God bless him. I lucked out.
Okay, I'll let you do your thing.
Mwah.
Okay.
Mwah.
Bye bye.
Thank
Bye,
you so
everyone.
much. It was a pleasure to see you.
Likewise.
Okay, so in the meantime, let me move this out of the way before I break it. I'm gonna put it on the side. Okay, so basically, this is what I've been doing, right? Intervals of 30 seconds at a time. Right now, you could actually see, let me bring you down a little bit. You could see that the chocolate started to relax a little bit. Now, time, temperature, movement is the key to the temper chocolate. Basically, what I'm doing here is I'm just melting some of this chocolate, but I have to be careful not to overheat it because this chocolate, these seeds, they are already tempered. So what I'm trying to do is I don't want to destroy those beta crystals that are responsible for a good tempered chocolate. So this particular chocolate, it's already tempered, but it's in a solid form. How do I make it into a more runny or loose form? You have to melt it intervals at a time, not to let it too hot. That's the key. So I'm going to pop it back again in the microwave. I'm gonna go another 30 seconds.
And when we have it 30 seconds, please let us know how did you meet your husband?
How did I meet my lovely husband? Well, I used to work as a senior systems analyst for many years, and Michael was a junior trader. So we both worked for a Swiss bank. He was a junior trader, and I was the junior systems analyst. And I used to develop systems for the traders, and that's how we met. Actually, a funny story is that one time I had to do a demo on the floor, and he was working on his computer. He was putting in some trades and things like that because he was a foreign exchange trader. And so I was doing a demo and I accidentally sat on his keyboard. I didn't realize it. And apparently I messed up everything that he was putting in. I had no idea. And I actually had no idea even after we started dating. But yeah, that's the impression that I made on him. He probably hated my guts. So
It's
yes,
very
we
sweet.
we we met at work. We met at the office, and um, but I don't know. I mean, we were a bunch of young people, in our early 20s, and we used to hang out, a group of people. But funny thing is that when we look back at pictures, we see that we were on the same groups, but we didn't realize it. And then one thing led to another. We were at the bar, of course, because that's what young people in Manhattan do. We will go bar hopping when you're that young. And one thing led to another, and he told me that he liked me, and then I started looking at him differently. And then that was it. I mean, I think we dated for about a year, and then we got engaged and in 6 months we were married, and we've been blessed. We've been 30 years married already.
So, what
Okay.
is your recipe for long, successful family life full of love?
Well, like you mentioned, definitely communication is key. And I'm from Peru, so he's American, um, and so definitely communication is absolutely key, especially because cultural differences, So we do have to talk to each other. I mean, we're like any couple. I mean, we have disagreements, but at the end of the day, I mean, every time we go to bed, we always tell each other, "I love you," and that's key. It's important to be considerate with each other and acknowledge each other, when he does little things, not to take it for granted. He tells me, hey, I did this, and that, I took care of the dog, or, oh, thanks for doing that. Just small little things, just be considerate with each other.
It's good
Okay,
advice.
so,
Thank you.
yeah. Okay, so this is so far what we have. And like I mentioned, it's important to keep stirring the chocolate because you want to distribute the heat that is already there. Okay. So I'm gonna put it back for another 30 seconds. 30 seconds. What about you? How long have you been married?
30 years already.
Oh, the same as me. 30 years. I mean, it sure goes fast. Okay, so I'll put another 15 seconds. And again, I'm just going to keep stirring my chocolate because I want to make sure to distribute all that heat. I don't want it to let it get too hot, right? I don't want to go past 34. Right now it's 31. Oh, that was 16. Okay. So it's 31. I keep steering, steering. This is probably the part that takes the longest time. Tempering chocolate. I'm just going to bring it down so you could see what I'm doing. Do you have any questions so far? Is anybody in there? I think it's dinner time, so probably most people are making dinner. This is what I have so far. I can feel that the chocolate is still a little bit warm, so I'm still using uh, that heat to distribute it evenly.
So patience needs on not only in family life making the chocolate, you need also be very patient.
Say that again.
I'm talking about the time to make the chocolate piece. It's a lot of love and passion, and it's same recipe for family life.
Yes, it's all correlated. It all makes sense, right? Okay, so I'm gonna pop it again, but this time I'm just gonna do a few seconds, okay? All right. While that's going on, I'm going to show you. So this is the first tool that we're going to be using. Let me bring you up. Okay. Ta-da! This is foam core. And this is going to be your very best friend because you have no idea the potential that you have with foam core. You can make intricate molds with this. I've actually used foam core to make a life-size isomold guitar. So in this case, this is something very simple, of course. You cut up a hole, right? And then I'm gonna bring you down. I have some parchment paper here. Let's see. Okay. So I'm just gonna cut a strip of parchment paper. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then you're just going to wrinkle it. Okay. I'm gonna cut another strip. And basically the parchment paper is going to give it texture. The texture that we want so that this piece looks like a tree, like a piece of tree. Very simple. When I did the isomo guitar, literally I had like, I don't know, maybe like 8 of this, big giant pieces of foam core, and I glued them all together, and then I literally cut the shape of the guitar, and then the inside I taped it with packing tape, which is nice and thick, and it's also heat resistant. So you go ahead and tape the whole thing, and then put your mold, right? Because this is a mold. Then you put it. I use a this is oh my goodness. This is an MDF board from Avare. Okay, so I line it up with parchment paper, and then I put my mold down. Imagine this is a guitar, but I made a life-size guitar. And then again, the inside, I taped it with packing tape. And then that was it. I mean, you just have to melt the isomalt to the right temperature, not too hot. And then that was it. Now, the key to making a mold with foam core is that you actually have to make cuts first where there is some tension. Okay, because when you do the cut, it's not going to be a perfect cut. So sometimes you're going to end up cutting this way or that way, and it may make it a little bit difficult to unmold. So before you even pour your chocolate or your isomold, you want to make strategic cuts. Like I made a cut here on right in the middle. But if it was a guitar, for example, you have so many intricate shapes. So you want to go ahead and do cuts exactly where all those little curves go. After you do the cuts, then you glue them back together. You just tape them back together like I did here. Okay. So I made my cuts and now they're taped back together. And then now I have here my parchment paper. And this is what's going to give it that texture. I am going to help it with just a little piece of Scotch tape, just so that it doesn't move. And this is, you have to do all of these things before you are ready to pour your temper chocolate. Okay, so just to keep it in place. It doesn't have to be perfect. If you're a perfectionist like me, this is great, but you don't have to be perfect. As I'm trying to make it perfect. Okay, another little piece over here. Oopsie. And maybe another piece right over here. I'm just gonna take this down. That's it. Okay, so that's it. Now, on the bottom, you do want to line it up with the parchment paper. And so now this is ready. This is ready for me to pour it in. Okay, I'm gonna put it on the side, and next we're going to do the mold. The mold to do this shape. Okay, so first we're starting with a base, right? So that to make it look like a tree, right? Then we're gonna do the heart shape. Okay. All right. I'm gonna put this to the side. Now let's talk about cardboard. You guys, you have no idea. Cardboard is just one of those tools that is absolutely taken for granted because look what you can do. Now, granted, I mean this particular cardboard obviously is not it's not food safe, right? But if you like, what I'm using right now is actually a chocolate, or if you were using a chocolate that are already expired and you want to give it a last use before you get rid of it, right? Then this is totally okay. This is totally okay to use. But if you're concerned about the ink and all that stuff, then you can line it up with either aluminum foil or saran wrap or just any heavy duty film. Okay, but the way you do this is you can either use cardboard or, well, in this case, I use also acetate sheet. This is an acetate sheet. I love to use this because, I mean, how many times do you want to see something fun and not flat, right? That you want it to have some sort of a dimension like this, right? But then, you don't have a mold for it and you don't want to spend hundreds of dollars,
Of course, of course.
yeah, finding a mold. So this gives you creative freedom because you can do very, very funky or very fancy designs, any designs that you want. Um, Let me show you. This is an acetate sheet, so I'm just gonna show you. This acetate sheet is actually nice and thick. Okay, but for purposes of this demo, I'm gonna show you how to do with cardboard. Let me put this to the side. Okay, so I have here a template, right? Because you always want to work with your templates. All right, so all you gotta do, let's just put to the side, and I'm just gonna trace, a design. So I'm gonna do the half because the heart that I did is not one single piece. I wanted to do two pieces that I can then just glue in in some sort of artistic kind of way. Okay, so I'm just gonna do half. That's it. Okay. The next thing that you gotta do is then you wanna cut about an inch or like an inch and a half away from that design that you just did. And you kind of want to trace it a little bit. And here's middle. Okay. Next, oops. Okay. Now, this is very, very important. This is key. What you want to do is you don't want to cut into it. You only want to score it. So just very carefully, I'm not putting a whole lot of pressure. I mean, I'm literally barely actually putting any pressure at all. Okay? I only scored it. And then I only scored it so that it gives it sort of like a way of knowing where I'm going to be bending. I don't know if you could see. And voila.
Look at this. It's amazing.
Very simple, okay? But again, the key is not to cut it. It's just to score it so that it lets you bend whatever your design is. And now you have a very interesting mold. So now you don't have a flat piece. Now you have a piece that has a nice, interesting shape like this. Okay? So that's what you could do with a cardboard. Now this cardboard obviously has to be nice and strong. And then that's it. So this is exactly what I did with my acetate sheet. I did exactly the same thing. I traced my design and then I scored it. And then after I was done scoring it, I went back and, careful not to cut into it, I bent it, and then that's it. And that's how I ended up with my two pieces. Okay? Any questions so far?
Now we have a comment, and I absolutely agree with this. It's very creative way.
Very creative way. Yeah, I mean it's and well, the beauty of it is it's creative, but it's also very easy and it's very simple, and it gives you freedom, a lot of freedom for you to come up with your own designs without having to spend so much money. Okay, so right here I'm actually lining up the pieces that I'm going to be pouring my tempered chocolate. Mise en place, right? Because you always have to mise en place. Okay, now let's get back to tempering that chocolate. All right, so I'm just gonna give it another, I don't know, another 6 seconds. Let's see where we're at. Okay. And this chocolate is actually ready. I'm
So
just
what do you do usually on Valentine's Day?
to be honest, my husband and I are not very big onto like special days like that. For us, every day should be a Valentine's Day. But I get it that, sometimes you get really busy, and so you do want to set aside a special day. But for us, I mean, we're not really big into making like a huge big deal out of February 14th specifically. So no, we like to have our dates. We like to make it a Valentine Day, um, any day we want to.
So what do you usually do on your dates?
On our dates, we like to go to dinner. We like to try new restaurants. We like to try new foods. And I'm just taking the temperature here. So this is 33 right now. I don't want to get past 34. So far, so good. But I do have to stir it because I don't want it to bloom, right? And blooming is when the fat separates from the chocolate, and then you get all those streaks. Yeah, so we like to try different restaurants. We live in Warwick, and so we're very lucky that we live in like farm to table kind of restaurants. Everything is, everybody around here um, cooks with like fresh ingredients and fresh vegetables. So, and we have really amazing culinary chefs around here. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's very difficult to please chefs, by the way.
I
They are very
know.
picky.
Especially, I mean, I'm not culinary, so I'm good. But if I'm going to go to a restaurant and somebody tells me that they made a dessert, I'm definitely going for it. Okay, so right here, you could see the chocolate is ready. Again, basically what we did is because the chocolate was already, we were already working with tempered chocolate. All I did is I tried to melt the chocolate in intervals, but I didn't let the chocolate get past 34. So 34 degrees. I didn't let the chocolate get too hot where it destroys the beta crystals. Okay, so you have to be careful with that. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and pour the
Peru
base.
is watching us. You know,
Who's
we
that?
are we are going international.
Oh, all right. Who is watching us?
Peru.
Peru. Oh, I'm from Peru. Who is that? Who is from Peru? Hello, Peru. Hola, mi Peru lindo. Okay, so I'm going to pour my base. I'm going to make some noise. Cover your ears. Chocolate can be so messy. I'm tapping and tapping and letting some of those bubbles come to the surface, but I'm not concerned about them. It's totally okay. And next, I'm going to pour some of this chocolate on our molds. Now here, don't expect the molds to come out like perfectly even, because this is a homemade mold. So I wanted to show you what this looks like. It looks like a worm right now. Don't worry about it. Because then I'm going to show you how to fix it, how to make it look pristine. Okay, I'm just pouring some of that chocolate. And so this is after tapping without tapping. Now you're going to be thinking, oh my God, look at that. What a hot mess. Don't worry about it. It's totally okay. I promise. It's going to be just fine. I'm going to let it sit. I'm going to put it in the fridge just for a couple minutes and I'll be right back. Okay. The next thing that we're going to learn how to make is very simple flowers. Okay. So we're going to be doing now. Okay, so we pour the base, right? We learn how to make the base to make it look like very organic, very rustic, kind of like a piece of tree, using foam core and parchment paper. Then we learn how to make a very nice and intricate mold using cardboard or an acetate sheet. Okay. Next, we're going to learn how to make some flowers. These are very organic, very simple flowers. They're not botanically correct. It's just the idea, you know, some petals, just something very organic and beautiful. Now, a lot of people ask, let me just show you. Let me change my gloves. Okay, so this is actually white chocolate. A lot of people ask, well, can I actually temper this chocolate? No. Guys, this is not chocolate. Stop calling it chocolate. This is not chocolate. It's not even imitation chocolate. I don't know what you want to call it. I think this is like wafers or I don't even know really what it's called, but this is not chocolate. It's not chocolate because it does not have the key ingredient to be considered chocolate. It does not have cocoa butter. Okay? This product has vegetable oil. And what is the key to temper chocolate? The key ingredient is cocoa butter. So when you temper chocolate, you're actually tempering the cocoa butter. There's no cocoa butter on this thing. It's only vegetable oil. White chocolate, in fact, is technically not chocolate because it does not have cocoa powder, but it's considered chocolate because it has cocoa butter. Make sense? I hope so.
Absolutely.
Okay. And you see the difference. I mean, it's not white, you guys. So anytime somebody gives you white chocolate and it looks white, be very suspicious because that's not chocolate. Chocolate, white chocolate is yellowish. Unless of course you color it with, some cocoa powder, white. So I figured that for this demo, because some people ask, well, but can I do a centerpiece using this? I have to be honest. I don't particularly care to work with this particular chocolate, but if you chocolate with this particular product, but if you must, then I'm gonna show you how to make the flowers using this. It's okay to use the flowers because it's a small decoration. But if you were doing like bigger, bigger decoration, something that needs to be structurally sound, then you have to work with real chocolate. And the higher the cocoa butter content, the better, the more structure.
So
Okay?
no compromises on chocolate.
No,
Absolutely.
absolutely not. No. Okay, but for purposes of this demo, because I do know and I do realize that there's a lot of people that do work with this. Can you do the actual heart? Can you do the heart with this? I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I mean, technically speaking, you could, but the major difference is that this is not going to withstand the temperatures or the humidity. It's not going to last long. Okay. Where when you work with real chocolate, then it stands the temperature better, especially humidity. Okay. Now, chocolate, I mean, it's chocolate. It's definitely temperature sensitive, absolutely. But this doesn't really have a stand against chocolate. So, can you do a hard? Sure. But then you better keep that hard on AC the whole time. Okay. Because tempered chocolate is definitely going to last a little longer. Okay. All right. So we're gonna melt now. We're not gonna talk about tempering this because you can't temper this product because it does not have cocoa butter. Okay? So we're gonna be talking about melting. All right. So I'm just gonna put some, and we're gonna put back in here. Now, even though we're not tempering, we still have to be mindful of the temperature when you melt it on the microwave, because there is such a thing as cooking chocolate. And when you went too far, when you actually cooked it, because the chocolate is going to be very pasty like. It's not going to be runny anymore. It's going to be like a blob. That's when you actually cook the chocolate, and then unfortunately either the chocolate or this particular product, and unfortunately there's not coming back from that. There's no retempering. This is cooked. Now, can you still use it? Of course, you can make a delicious ganache. Okay, I'm gonna put it back. Another maybe 30 seconds. I'm just gonna straighten things up here in the meantime, just to make a little room for what's next. Any questions so far? Any comments? Any questions?
Yeah, we have a few questions. People uh, amazed of your talent.
Oh, thank you. Let me bring you down to show you what I'm doing. Okay, so you see how, you know, this behaves differently. It's like it's not even runny. Okay. It's very it's not even like mayonnaise. It's just very pasty like. But I can tell that it's still, I can feel that there's a little bit of heat on the bottom. So even though I'm not tempering, I am melting. But I'm still using the same principle where if there is heat in here, you want to use that heat and distribute it evenly. And how you do that, you just keep on stirring and stirring and stirring. Now, here, some people like to put some crystals, or you can also put a little bit of, just to make it a little more loose, you can put some coconut butter. Or in this case, I'm actually using grapeseed oil, but I'm only putting just a tiny, teeny, teeny little bit. You don't want to put too much because the oil, this particular oil, doesn't set like the coconut oil, right? It doesn't set. It stays loose. But because this particular product, since it's not chocolate and it's not very runny, I mean, I do need it to give me just to loosen up a little more. I'm gonna put it back for a few seconds. I'm just gonna do like 5 seconds. Okay. Stir, stir, stir. The most common mistake that people do, whether it's tempering or melting, is that they see these chunks and then they decide right away that they're going to put it back on the in the microwave. That's a huge mistake. Yes, there's some chunks, but guess what? There's still heat in here. So you gotta use that heat to continue melting what's in here. And you see, like I'm actually stirring and stirring, and it's still melting. Because if I didn't do that, if I didn't help distribute the heat, then and if I put it right back into the microwave, that's when you end up cooking the product or the chocolate. I'm just gonna add just a tiny, teeny bit more oil. That's it. I'm gonna put it back in for another 6 seconds. Any questions?
I have a question. I understand you had a good career in programming. So now you are the owner of successful business and you famous cake decorator. How you did this change? Why?
Oh, yeah, that's a long story, but basically, yeah, so I used to work as a senior systems analyst and a project manager for many years for a Swiss bank and also for a French bank. But then back in the year 2000, I was diagnosed with stage 4 uterine cancer, and they gave me less than a year to live. So I underwent a very rigorous and very strong treatment with chemotherapies, and I went through major surgeries and radiations, and basically the aftermath of all the treatments left me very depressed. Left me like I lost myself. I didn't know who I was anymore. It left me with a lot of problems, memory problems. I even forgot to let me bring you up while I do this. I even forgot to speak in English and Spanish. So it was crazy. Um, and so things started to become very difficult for me at the office, at work. I mean, I still love what I was doing, but it was taking me 2, 3 times the amount of time to accomplish all my tasks. And I was just becoming very, very depressed. And I lost myself. You know, it was very difficult. It was very, very difficult time in my life because I didn't know who I was anymore. I didn't know what I was
It
going to
sounds
do.
terrible.
Oh, it was terrible. It was awful. And then one day I was watching TV. I was recovering from multiple surgeries and a really bad fall. And I came across Food Network. This
Oh,
is back in the days, Food Network had a Food Network Challenge. And I thought, oh wow, I didn't know you could do that with a cake. That's when I watched Marina Sousa for the first time making a birthday cake. And she won that competition. But the interesting thing is that the second place was actually Colette Peters' assistant. And when I went to look up everybody's information, he actually had Colette Peters' website instead of his. And when I went to Colette Peters' website, wow. I mean, I was just like, oh my God, who is this woman? What amazing cakes. I mean, it was like, it was being in La La Land. It was so beautiful.
she,
Her,
she is a legend.
oh my God. I mean, and then I didn't know that she was in New York and she happened to be teaching classes. So immediately I signed up for one of her classes and I just fell in love. I mean, it was like love at first sight. So she was actually one of the very first ones. She was one of my first mentors. Eventually, I got to do like a very quick internship with her. It was so much fun. I learned a ton from her. I mean, a lot from her. And I just her creativity, her imagination, it was so refreshing. Yeah, so next thing I know, I figure, well, can I can I actually do can I do cakes? Because I wasn't known for baking. And wait, this is actually already setting. Serious, I'm talking too much. Hang on one second. Let me just put it back for a couple seconds. Okay. I'm going to bring you back down and then I'll continue with the story. But first, let me show you how. Okay, so see, I'm just going to add a little more oil, just a little bit, just to loosen it up. Okay. Now, on the parchment paper, everybody knows how to make a cornet, right? I'm going to put a little bit in here. Hopefully everybody can see what we're doing. I'm going to cut a little hole. And then really quick, I have some parchment paper. We're going to have 2 pieces of parchment paper ready. And then I'm just going to do like small dots. I know you guys can see what I'm doing. It's nothing perfect. This is going to be a little bit on the thick side. Okay. And then you're going to put another parchment paper over and you're going to smash it. It's not perfect. Again, this is not meant to be botanically correct. And we're gonna open it up. But before it sets, it's very dry right now in here. So before it starts setting, I'm gonna put it in the fridge and I'll be right back. Okay. In the meantime, we're going to unmold our pieces. This is what it looks like. Okay. Now you're gonna be like, oh my God, that doesn't look clean at all. You will be correct. But it's not a big deal because we are going to clean it up. And I'm just gonna show you how. And you know when it's, well, tender because you hear that snap, right?
Yeah,
And you hear that
it's because
snap
of this
is,
sound. You can check it.
yes. Okay, so that's when you know the chocolate is properly tempered. Okay, so I have my two pieces that may look like a disaster, but it's not a big deal. Now, let me just move this to the side. Okay, now for this piece, remember I made my cuts? Okay, so you do want to, I mean, if you touch the chocolate is still setting. But this is what I like about this type of molds, that because it's already setting on the outside, you can go ahead. You don't have to wait until tomorrow. Because technically speaking, for the chocolate to be completely done, you would, especially if it's very thick, you would probably have to wait like a few hours. I don't have that kind of time. I want to keep working with it. And so this type of mold enables me to do that because it's already set on the outside and I can still work with it. You see this is why I cut those pieces here where wherever you see that there's that tension. Okay. And then okay, so what happened here in the interest of learning is that when I put the mold down, it actually went under. So one way to prevent that is by taping something on the bottom, which I didn't do. Okay, but in the interest of learning, I'm showing you what not to do too. Yeah, like that was on purpose. Okay. So anyway, and then just remove the paper, the parchment paper.
So how long the transition from programmer to owner of bakery take?
Oh boy. So while I was still working as a senior systems analyst for the French bank, I went to school. I decided to go to a French Culinary Institute because I wanted to learn how to properly make cakes. I mean, believe it or not, it seemed to me like chemo messed up a part of my brain, but the creative side started to develop, which is very interesting to me because I wasn't really known for being too artistic, or arts were never really my thing. And then next thing I know, I'm learning how to do all these things, like painting, sculpting, things that, like, if you had asked me, many years ago, uh, do you like arts? I'm like, well, yeah, I like to look at it, but I would never think that I would be an art. I mean, I don't think of myself as an artist. I think of myself as artistic because I don't have the proper training to be called an artist. And I'm not one of those people that, you know, grew up painting or drawing or sculpting, doing any of that stuff. That all came to me much, much later. So that all came to me, after cancer and after all the treatments. But anyway, so then here we go. Okay. So that's going to be the base.
Beautifully done.
All right. So that's the base. And now I'm going to show you how you can actually clean up these pieces here. Just give me 1 minute. I'm going to put this to the side. Yeah, so I went to school. Let me bring you down again. Let's clean up a little bit the station. Yeah, so I went to school, and then while I was still working, I was actually going to school to learn how to bake. It was extremely challenging. All right, so then here you think, oh my gosh, this looks like a hot mess. Well, don't worry about it because that's why you have your X-Acto knife. I suggest to do small sections at a time. And you see how easy it is.
I think all of your mentors and professors should be proud of you.
Oh, I have another story about that. One of my mentors is Chef Kier, who I absolutely adore. Chef Kier, I used to think that he hated my guts because at school, he was always, well, I felt to me anyway, that he was always yelling at me because it was obvious that I was one of the older ones at school. Most people there, they were young and they were there to take over their families' businesses. Um, Meanwhile, I was there to reinvent myself, hopefully. And I was, I didn't grow up with my grandma or my mom baking, doing cookies like most people did. So it was obvious that I was an oddball in class. And everything that I could do wrong, I did. um, yeah, so I actually thought that, because Chef Q was always yelling at me, Greeley this, Greeley that. Oh my God, I couldn't do anything right. It felt that way anyway. But so then when we finished school, um, he was one of the few chefs that said, if you ever have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. And then by then, I was already entering local competitions. I entered the National Capital Area Cake Show competition where I won and I beat the Masters. And right around that time, Food Network was looking for talent. And I think that's the show that put me on the map. That show was run by Norman Davis, one of my favorite people. And yeah, so that particular show put me on the map. Okay, so you see how little by little I'm actually, it started to take shape. And then just small sections at a time. And then Food Network called and they said, hey, we would like for you to be on a chocolate competition. I'm like, yeah, right. Who is this? I actually thought it was a prank. And I hung up on them. I actually hung up on the producer. And then they call me back and it's like, wait a second, did you just hang up on us? It's like, who is this? What kind of joke is this? No, this is Food Network. I'm the producer, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, are you kidding me? It's like, yeah, no, we're not kidding. Um, and then they told me, look, we're recruiting people for a competition in chocolate. Chocolate is very technical, and not a lot of people like to work with chocolate, especially competition, because, oh my gosh, you see how long it takes just to do a small piece, tempering. Uh, it's just, if you don't do it right, the setback is just horrible. Um, So anyway, I call Chef Kier, my master chef instructor. I send him an email and I say, "Hey, Chef Kier, would you like to be my assistant?" Could you
Oh my
imagine,
gosh.
me telling this guy telling this master chef instructor if he wanted to be my assistant. I still remember when I sent the email, I was like, was cringing because, oh my god, he's going to be insulted. He's never now he really is going to hate my guts. And then, to my shock and surprise, he actually replied saying, "Sure, I'll help you." And then we both went on to that particular show, which is Chocolate Mist. We placed second, and we had an amazing time. That's when we met Carrie Vincent, Vincent Pilon, and Chef Keegan. I mean, we had such an amazing adventure. We did a great job on that. That was the first competition, and everybody always, your first time you think that you're gonna go there and win. And of course that was me too. I wanted to go win, right? But little did I know it was more about the journey. The journey with the MasterChef instructor that I thought hated my guts, and I learned so much from him. We became really good friends. We still talk to each other. Um, he's got the most beautiful garden at his house. We've been to each other's houses, and even to today, we still keep in touch. He's one of my mentors. So yeah, that was an amazing experience.
What is your advice to young people who want to be a TV cake stars?
Don't take yourself too seriously. Don't, because you know what? Yes, I mean, who doesn't like to win? But one thing that I learned is that people sometimes don't remember you because you won. Some people will remember you because of the work that you did or how you conducted yourself. How is it that you did during the competition? Sometimes um, people will remember a specific project that you did, you know so don't think about just winning, that only the people that win are the ones that are going to be remembered, because that's not true. That is absolutely not true. So yeah, don't take yourself too seriously. Okay. Ta-da. I mean, I can go on and on and on with this, but okay. So now I have my two pieces, just like that. I'm gonna clean this up really quick, and then we're gonna start putting it together. I normally like to wear gloves when I have my long nails. To me, I know there's a controversy about wearing gloves. I do like to wear gloves, but in my case, right now my nails are long. And yes, when you wear gloves, I mean, you're still touching all kinds of stuff. But the difference is that when you wear gloves, it doesn't go on your nails. That's one of the main things. All right. So this side, I'm pretty happy with it. I mean, if it was you, you could probably go on and on and on, and you might want to try to give it a little more shape. This little tip here, because it's gonna go on the front, I want it to look nice. So maybe I'll just keep working a little bit more, just on that tip. That's okay. That's it. All right. Next. All right. So we have the base and we have our piece. Okay. Like this. Okay. Now let's try to glue this together. I'm gonna use my cooling spray just to accelerate the process. Let me just heat up a little bit of chocolate to glue. Just a second. In the meantime, let's take a look at the flowers, the petals. Okay, so what do we do here? All right, so we can make one flower. There's enough to make one flower. Okay. Ideally, if this was real chocolate, I would like them to be, the petals to be thinner. Okay? But this is not real chocolate. I'm just gonna put that to the side. Okay. Let's make some glue. Yeah. Any questions? Wow, it's been over an hour. I'm sorry. We're almost done. I promise. We're almost done. Now we just
No,
have to
no,
put
no.
it all
It's
together.
very interesting. Continue, please.
Yeah, you know, that's the story of my life. I always end up, taking a little longer. I'm sorry. Okay. Where's my spatula? Also, and talking about chocolate and Chef Kier, my mentor, I learned a very valuable lesson from him because at school, by then, chemo did a number on my brain, and I started to realize that I could be a little artistic. So, but then we had a chocolate project, and I still remember my friend Martha. She was my partner, right? And she was always we used to share a station. And Martha did this rubber ducky. We had to do a chocolate project, and Martha did this rubber ducky on like standing on a fence. It was just, I mean, to me, it was like, really? I mean, it was a mold rubber ducky. Meanwhile, I actually did a giraffe with a tongue sticking out, and I gave it some texture, and the tongue was sticking out, trying to eat like the petal of a flower, and everybody in my class absolutely loved it, and I felt like $1 million. It's like, oh yeah, I got this. Well, Martha got like a 95. And then I got like an 80 or like an 85. And I'm like, okay, that's it. What? Why is this chef has it in for me? Oh my gosh. What is it? What is wrong with my piece? Everybody loves it. It looks amazing. It looks better than the rubber ducky. So I went to Chef Kier and I was frustrated. It's like, Chef Kier, I want to know why. Why did you give me an 80 or an 85? And Martha, who did a rubber ducky, She got a 95. What? Anyway, he's a chef with very few words, and he's got a very peaceful, very tranquil, demeanor, and very, very knowledgeable. He's one of the few that are. He's not just culinary, but he's also a pastry chef, and he also does calligraphy. He used to be a monk, so he knows everything. He's a sommelier too. Amazing, amazing. But anyway, so he goes, okay, come with me. Let's take a look at the rubber ducky, shall we? Okay. We took a look at the rubber ducky, and then he tells me, well, look at it. So Martha, long story short, is Martha used a mold that it was a two-piece mold, right? She was able to perfectly temper that chocolate to glue the mold together. You could not see a single fingerprint on that stupid rubber ducky. You couldn't even see the seam of the union of that mold. That rubber ducky was absolutely a masterpiece. I couldn't believe it. Meanwhile, my giraffe was out of temper. And I kind of knew that. So I actually gave it some texture with a brush, thinking that, I'm going to fool the chef. Nothing went by him, nothing. So technically speaking, that rubber ducky was a masterpiece, and it was worth every point of those 95 points that she got. And I absolutely, thinking back, I was like, oh wow. I guess I was lucky he even gave me an 80 or an 85. It was a lesson that I never forgot. And to this day, I always like to say, when I go to competitions and things like that, I always look for the rubber duckies.
So it was your first step to judging.
That's correct. Oh my God. Yeah. Who knew? Right? Who knew I was going to end up judging? Okay. So I'm actually doing a little bit of chocolate here because we're going to be gluing now our pieces. I'm going to bring you back down. I'm going to bring you down. Oops. I'm going to get you down. All right. So here, it's up to you if you want to do it like this or you want to do it a little higher. It's completely up to you. For purposes of time, I'm just going to go ahead and glue it like that. Okay. But you can glue it any way you want to. I'm just going to put some chocolate here. I don't know if you could see. I'm going to go a little higher. Oopsie. And then this one, I'm going to score it a little bit so that the chocolate gets glued well. Okay. And now here. Okay, so this tip ended up being a little too long. That's okay. I am going to put a little blob here. And then I'm just hitting it with some cold spray. The chocolate is too warm for this. Okay. So this is the part where you have to resource to whatever you have handy. Okay. I'm just gonna reinforce it to the sides. It doesn't have to look pretty right now. But you can always go back and then smooth it out. Okay, in the meantime, let's see if we can move this. Okay. All right. Now let's just glue the flowers and then we're almost done.
Using this opportunity, I wanna say to everyone, please subscribe on Vanessa channel. I added all information below of the video, all social media and website. You can order custom cake, very delicious cake for yourself or your loved ones. And Vanessa also has a schedule of classes. Please check her website.
Okay, so I'm just trying to heat up some of that pink stuff. Refuse to call it chocolate. Okay. I'm just trying to melt some of the pink stuff. To make some glue. Okay. We're gonna cut a little opening. All right. So then just do a little blob. And now we're going to arrange them. Actually, I want the bend to be going up, right? Makes sense. So that it has movement.
What cake competition were the most difficult for you?
The most difficult, it was probably the first one, the chocolate one, because just when we were about to, I mean, this is in the middle of the show. Chef Kier had just finished tempering massive amounts of chocolate, and then the producer says, "And cut. We're gonna be changing the tapes." We were like, "Wait, what? No, there's no changing tapes. There's no cut. There's no cut. We're ready. I mean, the chocolate is tempered. There's no cut. We need to keep going, keep filming." Um, that was, oh my God. We were so upset because it was a major setback for us. Anyway, okay, and then yep, you can add more. This one doesn't like. Just a little dab more.
What is the next for Vanessa Greeley? Like chef, like cake artist?
That's a really good question. I've been trying to focus actually on my health right now. I'm a sucker for competitions. I love competing. I mean, I'm just a sucker for competitions. If there's a competition, I want to be there. And it doesn't matter if I win or lose. I'm an adrenaline junkie. Okay. Let's see if this is ready. And what happens is that because of the cancer, I mean, some people think that you know, once you're in remission, that's it. I was actually diagnosed later on with Lynch disease, which means my cancer is genetic. So I have to constantly go for checkups every single year. I go for colonoscopies once or twice a year to stay on top of things. And I've had a total of like 12 surgeries already, all consequences of the aftermath of the other surgeries and treatments and things like that. So uh, the year before last, I had 3 surgeries. One of them was for my back and some other pre-cancer stuff that they found. And last year, I was septic. Oh my gosh, that's the whole other story. But yeah, so right now I've been trying to concentrate on my health so I can keep doing what I'm doing. All right, I'm gonna bring you down again one last time. So then this is it. Okay. You can put it anywhere you like. And that's how we made. Now what I did with the other piece, I probably overdid it. I think I overdid it. But what happens is that if you don't have an airbrush, right? Because from touching the chocolate too much, you are going to leave some fingerprints and things like that. And what I did here is I used the edible lacquer, but I think I oversprayed it so it looks like really shiny. If you that's what you like, then that's fine. If not, then just don't overspray it like I did. Okay. But if you do have an airbrush, then you can use cocoa powder base colors, and then just give it a nice coating, and then that's it. All right, you guys. I hope that that you guys learn something. Just to do a little recap, we learned how to make the base using cardboard and parchment paper. Don't forget to make those cuts on places where there's going to be tension when you unmold your piece. We put we crunched some parchment paper to give that texture so that it looks like a piece of tree. Then we also made some very intricate designs with acetate sheet, and we also used cardboard. Where is my cardboard? We use some cardboard as well. You can do any shapes you want to. As a matter of fact, this was more of a 2D piece, right? But if you wanted to make it more like a 3D, so that it has the depth not only in the front but also on the back, then you just sandwich it together. Okay? So now you have this design in the front and also on the back. So the back doesn't look too flat. Okay? And last but not least, we made some flowers just simply by piping some dots on a parchment paper. Then you put another parchment paper over, and then just smash it with your finger to make some rounds, to make some circles. Don't forget to then roll it on, some sort of a tube, and that's it. That's so the petals are have some, so they're not all too flat, and then they have some kind of a form to it, and then just glue it together, and voila, that's it. And you got a centerpiece. This is just an idea, but obviously you're more than welcome to come up with your own design. And I am so thrilled and excited to share this with you. And I can't wait to see what you guys come up with.
Yeah, if you made something, please send us pictures and we're happy to post them.
Yes, yes, please share with me. I love to see it. And of course, as always, if you guys have any questions, you know where to find me. Don't hesitate to let me know.
Again, on the bottom of the video, all information about Vanessa's social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Please follow us. Please support us. We need your support. We love you and we love our job and this art, and we need your support. Please don't forget to add your likes, comments. Happy Valentine Day to everyone.
Yes, happy Valentine's, you guys. Mwah, 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 mwah.
So thank you for watching. We love you. See you
Thank you,
soon.
guys. See you
With
soon.
love. Happy Valentine Day.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. See you soon. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.
How do I end this?